Hello, everybody. Welcome to Toku Portal Podcast. I am Rai, and with me is.
Kid.
And the little king.
I wasn't.
And
Uh,
today,
I
oh, sorry.
wasn't here last time because I was moving, so I didn't have internet. I was still able to listen to you two through on my phone. You guys did a great job.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
There's just
thank you.
there's just one problem that I had. When you mentioned that Garo was watching Lucky sleeping, it gave me the wrong idea, and I thought that Garo was literally in Lucky's room just watching him sleep for no reason.
I forgot about that comment.
And I thought it was super weird that you guys just kind of glanced over it. And then I watched the episode and found out, oh no, Lucky was just asleep in the kitchen, and Garo went to wake him up.
Well, to be fair, it didn't exactly seem like a big thing.
You made it sound like a bigger thing than it actually was, and that's my problem.
Oh,
Oops.
my
Anyways,
bad.
on to this week's episode.
Yes, Uchuu Sentai KyuuRanger episode 37. So first we get a recap from Lucky. The Rangers are heading to planet Cayenne. We get the episode title Space 37. Lucky is reunited with his father. Raptor updates the sortie team about the barriers surrounding the Southern Cross system. Tsurugi recalls that 4 of the warriors who fought with him were sages that broke through the barrier. Balance believes they can do the same thing using the Q energy of 4 specific Q-Tamas. And one of them is the Andromeda Q-Tama, which they already have. So they just need the other 3. But the Rangers are resolved to help Lucky with his current situation right now. Balance, Naga, Garu, Bara, Lucky, Tsurugi, and Kotaro deploy. Yeah, it's a pretty big group. They spot a vandalized poster of the king. Lucky wants to learn the truth before jumping to any conclusions. We cut to a big Morai Mazu. Chief Retainer tells Kukuruga that Lucky's father is the king, and he laughs at hearing this. The Rangers arrive at the capital, and we get the opening. What did you guys think?
For starters, I liked the little bit where his foster father was telling him, like, show some respect to your royalty retainers, and they're all just doing their own versions of bows while Tsurugi and Naga just don't. Obviously, Tsurugi with his reasons, and Naga just like, is that what you do? And Tsurugi's reasoning, it's like, I outrank a king. I don't have to bow. It's like, it was cute. I liked it. And it was a small moment, but I kind of liked how Stinger was helping Lucky in his resolve for going after his dad. And he has a good point. It's hard to focus on goals that seem important in the long run when you have your own shit to deal with. And the bit with King Aslan and the poster and everything, I thought that was a nice touch. Like, a prelude for what was to come, and they were consistent with how they kept up the planet, and I appreciate that. Like, big crowds jammed into small areas, trashed cities everywhere. Obviously, the propaganda being scratched out. It was a good touch on their part, and the planet itself, the interior is gorgeous, so good on them for that.
I also really appreciated that Tsurugi and Naga did not bow. Tsurugi because of his ego, and Naga because bowing is a sign of gratitude, and gratitude implies emotions, and they're avoiding emotions on his planet. So he was probably wondering, wait, what? It's a small detail, but it's a nice one. Uh, Other than that, uh, no, not much to say. I do like that Gia noticed Lucky right away because he said, "Alright, Lucky," and he was the only one that would ever say that.
So yeah, the king tells the citizens that their lives will be spared if they submit to dark matter. Lucky recognizes the king immediately as his father. The people in the crowd believe he's a coward and begin hurling insults and rocks at him. Lucky reveals his identity to his father, but the chief retainer shows up and introduces himself and says that the king works for him, and he attacks. The Rangers start change and fight back. Jumotsu is the chief retainer. He's able to create Tsuyoindabi using his missiles. He has like two missile launchers on his shoulders. Kukuruga joins in and focuses Lucky. He reveals that he conquered the planet in the past. Lucky is forced to take direct hits to protect the onlookers. I really like this watching the second time because this is pretty much what happens when the other Rangers don't show up to evacuate everyone. Lucky has to take some blasts and get knocked out of his transformation, so I thought that was a good touch. The king says that no one who defies the king will be spared. Basically, even his own son will be punished. Jumotsu sees storm clouds approaching and orders a retreat. Kukuruga takes Lucky as prisoner. Thoughts?
Yeah, like you said about the civilians, I thought that was good in that it does show consequences to actions if I don't take them. Like, and obviously, Lucky took those consequences head on, might I add, which I thought was badass. The fight itself was, I thought, alright, and one thing I really liked is it was a subtle touch, but think way back when we first went to Earth and the people were basically submitting without a second thought because they thought it would be better for themselves. Now look at Lucky's people. They're openly protesting against their king. And obviously, a king seems a lot higher up than a normal magistrate. So I feel like that's a really nice change of personality and how different environments can change personalities. And the king himself, he's a dick. I'll just be forward about that. But that's good because the way they're playing it is a good way to put it. And like I said before, I like how we're showing their power levels are going up because now they're taking on like Scorpio level guys. These guys were on the same power level as Stinger's brother, and yet we're able to beat them pretty much every other week now. I feel like that is a much more of a different growth in their power. They're getting stronger and stronger every time, and eventually it's going to get to the point where we can reach the big guy, and I love that they're showing that. So yeah, good foreshadowing, good fight, good prelude for what's to come. I had a lot of good. I liked it.
Uh, what's even better about the Lucky taking the hit for the people fight is seeing the people react in the background. Especially that one woman that reached out an arm to him, like, no. Just the realization on their faces of what is happening in front of them. That was really solid. Uh, I also like the tie-in for the villain. Like, yeah, I was the one that took over this planet. It's a neat little trope that doesn't really get stale in terms of the hero's like little redemption arc. Other than that, King pretty much said everything about how they're getting stronger and better and all that stuff.
Yep. So the remaining two Enderby are defeated and turn into sand. Aboard the battleship, the Rangers get a transmission from Kukuruga announcing Lucky's public execution, and his father's gonna be the one to do it. Gia cannot believe this change in the king. Lucky's brought to tears at this betrayal. A tear lands on the king's hand and burns him. Tsurugi wonders if dark matter brainwashed the king or if he's a clone, just like the Tsuyoindabi that they fought, and he's made out of sand. At the public execution, Kukuruga roughs up Lucky. The sortie arrives, already transformed. They fight Jumotsu and his Tsuyoindabi. Kukuruga attacks from the high ground and knocks them out of their transformation. Before being executed, Lucky asks angrily where his real father is. Kukuruga tells him that he killed him long ago. Lucky is actually relieved that he's the one who gets to avenge his father and fulfill his father's words. Next, Kukuruga. Hami frees Lucky. Stinger, Champ, and Raptor use water-launching Kyutamas to dissolve the fake king. Tsurugi's plan succeeded. Yeah, just to finish all this. Lucky knew as well from his tear that the king was a fake. Lucky decides to succeed his father in liberating the Leo system. The citizens cheer before they are evacuated. The sortie start changes and roll calls. It's a pretty big chunk, but what did you guys think?
I'll get the minister stuff out of the way now. I thought this was clever. Like, him using his powers to summon more minions. We've seen that before. But the side effect of them being sand, I think is really clever. Not only that, but with the king, too. And I sort of felt like that was, in a way, a trophy of sorts. Like, the fact that nobody knew that their king was dead, I understand, but there's also the fact that they knew, they all did, so the man that they killed, the leader of the planet they conquered, is now basically a figurehead for them, fake or not, I think speaks volumes, because they're willing to go to that length, and they know it's a risk, because somebody might find out. They don't care. I think that was a really nice touch on their part. Him suffocating Lucky to the point where he had to find out about the tear thing. A tiny bit cliche, but it was effective, so I'll give him that. The whole public execution scene, that was... It hit. It hit the points it needed to. It had its heartfelt moments, it had its Lucky moments, and I did like Lucky this time. Like, him using his own logic against everything against him, even as he's facing death. So, nice touch. And I loved that they use all of the different water spitting Kyutama. That I thought was freaking hilarious and freaking awesome. So, that was really, really cool.
Okay, so the initial foreshadowing that the monsters are weak to water, it was pretty cool, and I like that at least someone caught on to it. Like, oh no, Rain, we gotta go now, fight's over, guys. Yeah, that raises a few flags. And I like that Lucky noticed with his tear hitting his father's skin, like, yeah, that steamed a bit. That shouldn't have happened. It was a little upsetting to hear, like, the real king had actually been dead for years. But it made sense. Like, I was expecting to be like, oh, the real king has just been locked up this whole time because. No, he's dead. Like he should be. They had no reason to keep him alive. One thing I would have liked to see a bit more of is Gia, like, interacting with some of the other KyuuRangers. Just to, like, so we could see a bit more about how he's reacting to Lucky's new team and things. See how he's doing, because he doesn't know them, so I wanted to see, like, what he thought of them. But, you know, that's just a little nitpick. Doesn't matter. Yeah, when they're planning to just use all of the water squirting Kyotama as well. I hadn't expected that. I expected them to use water in some way, but not like that.
Yeah, Tsurugi was pretty clever this episode. Um, so the fight, not gonna say much about, but it had pretty fun stunts and effects. I liked it a lot. Kukuruga and Jumotsu are defeated. Kukuruga turns giant while Jumotsu pilots his big Moraimazu. Super Kyureno fights Kukuruga with Orion Battler, which doesn't have a pilot because it doesn't really need one. Gigan Ho fights in space. And it was a pretty fun mech fight as well. I really liked the colors that Super Kyureno was rocking. It looked really freaking nice. Yeah, what did you guys think?
Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, there isn't really much to say about it, but for what it was awesome. Like, Gato, I feel like had some good moments in that fight. Like, him doing his slashes and parkour. He actually said his battle catchphrase for the first time in 36 episodes. So, yay for that. Lucky and Kukuruga fighting was just phenomenal. Like, short, yes, but it was awesome. The Megazord fight, it was, I feel, well coordinated. They had good strategy with it. The mechs didn't feel too crammed, and I liked Caesar that little bit. That was adorable. I forgot to say earlier, I liked it when Caesar was just playing with all the Kyutamas that got chosen. I thought that was adorable. So yeah, I really liked this.
I wasn't here last time to comment on the new mech. I like it. It's just a straight upgrade of their base mech, and I'm just okay with that. I really like its design. It reminds me of the Chimera form from KyuuRanger, that mech that they had. And we don't typically get a whole lot of Sentai mech where they just get a straight upgrade for it. They usually just get like a power up or an entirely new mech. But this one is just like the baseline body is just a better version. I also really liked this combat this time around. They actually fought each other and didn't just immediately resort to shooting laser beams. They still did that for the finisher, but it was fine because we actually got a fight beforehand.
Yeah, giant Kukuruga put up a fight, but he still got wrecked. So on the ground, Lucky arrives in a brand new coat. Kotaro correctly guesses that Stinger made it. Tsurugi can't help but admit that he told him to make it. Naga uses the Kanmuri Kyutama to create a crown for Lucky, and Hami crowns him with it. Citizens cheer. Lucky thanks everyone and asks them to believe in his luck to create a path to the future. Basically, what his dad said in the past. And then everyone says, "Alright, Lucky, episode end. No plot twist with the villains. Just a good feel." What do you guys think?
I'm all for a good feel ending, so yay! Lucky's coat looks absolutely amazing. Stinger did a great job. And yes, I'm glad that came back. And I'm glad that Tsurugi admitted that he asked Stinger to make that. And it might have just been me, but when they all came together to coronate Lucky with the crown, I thought that was really heartwarming. And it was really sweet. Small but sweet. And it might have just been my subs, but I liked it when Balance was going "Hail to the King." And then we'll doing the catchphrase, of course. Just the pride of the Leo flag shining in the streets. I loved that. And I know that obviously Lucky's got a friggin' system to run now, so I'm curious as to where this is gonna go. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But all in all, I like this.
I actually really loved Lucky's coronation there. Stinger making him the coat, using a Kyutama to summon his crown. That one seemed a little ridiculous. But all in all, it felt great. And Hami got to put the crown on him. Good for her. Ultimately, what I expect is that Lucky's not going to just stop fighting Dark Matter. Absolutely not. And he's going to let his people know that he's going to be out there fighting. I imagine he'll probably leave Gia in charge in his place while he's out there. And it'll probably be kind of like an Gokai Pink situation too, because she was royalty and she had to flee her planet because of Zangief, and then she became a Sentai member. It's just a feeling that I got from watching this episode.
Yeah, and what really made it great, just thinking back, was that Gia probably had given up by that point. I mean, that's why he didn't tell Lucky anything. He probably had completely given up on Lucky reclaiming the throne, so that just makes it even greater that he finally got to see that. Any final thoughts?
Well, worth the wait. I had a lot of fun and wait for next week.
Because I missed the last episode, I watched it right before this one, so I didn't have to wait. This was a really good episode. I'm actually kind of disappointed that we're just getting another. It's not quite a filler one because they're trying to tie it into the plot, but at the same time, it's clearly just a filler one. Either way, I'm not really looking forward to next week. It's just maybe it'll still be a good episode if just a silly one. But coming off of this, like, it's gonna be rough.
Yeah, hopefully the fight scene and the humor can make up for it, but it is going to be tough to beat. So, I guess that's about it. We're going to sign off. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Later, taters.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week with more KyuuRanger, or tomorrow for a Kamen Rider build. Thanks for watching. See you next time.